God damn it.
What?
Stupid GIFs. Um, it's like, oh, is this some weird, like, secret technique to open a beer? And then at the end, he just throws a brick at it. It was, yeah, convoluted.
Reddit?
Yeah, Reddit.
Welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast.
Nice.
Our number one topic on today's episode.
Yeah.
The Media Monk's Barrel.
I mean, it's actually on our list. Like, it is legitimately written down
Yeah.
to talk about Reddit.
Reddit.com. The number one source of useless nonsense.
The front page of the internet.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I hate that title that they've given themselves.
Pretty arrogant, or...
It's super arrogant.
Yeah.
Like, that's not just me, right? It's
no,
super
I
arrogant.
guess it is pretty arrogant. But a lot of dumb internet filters through there, like from all over the place. So
Right.
kind of makes sense.
Sure.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying I hate that they know it.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's smug. It's a little smug. But,
So
yeah.
Let's start off just with how this has been like the hardest podcast in a while to get going.
Yeah,
we-
this episode of the Pixel Response Podcast, which is its actual name.
Should we describe the
Our
trials and
misadventures.
tribulations that have actually happened?
Yeah, so like I'll just lead up to where the main issue happened, and then you can explain what we were experiencing. But we've been trying to meet up in person and record that way because I just think it's better. You know, it's just kind of more connection.
It's a different
more
dynamic.
Dynamic, yeah. So I drove down, brought my microphone, and we drafted a list of topics. We were ready to go a couple hours ago, and then the mic wasn't working, which is pretty frequent. There's like, oh, maybe it's a USB port. Maybe we just, you know what? Let's just reboot the computer, and then I don't know. Windows died, or what happened?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I don't actually have any idea what happened. So I think like there was a driver fault or something, and
Like
then
I was trying to auto install drivers for my mic and just.
but like was
that
failing to do it or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It was weird. And then like I was booting it back up in like safe mode, and it's like, okay, well things are still okay here, so that's fine. And then like try again, and then it still wouldn't work. So, and then it started to like not boot up in safe mode anymore either. So I was like, oh Christ, here we go. That's pretty much when you were like, okay, well, I'm going to go home and play Let It Die, which, like, spoiler alert, we're going to talk a bit about that too.
Yeah, that's right.
But you went home, and I've been spending the last hour formatting and reinstalling Windows on my main hard drive.
Do you think that's going to do the trick, though? Because I really
It already
hope-
has.
Okay, good.
The biggest, the reason...
thing somehow bricked your PC and
No. We're doing this on a laptop, actually. Like, I'm recording this from a laptop. The reason being, we would be doing it on the main PC, like I would be hosting the call and stuff, but I can't find the drivers for my internet port. So, like, I actually have, like, Audacity installed on the main PC again. I have most of like the main drivers. I have the main graphics driver, all of that stuff. I just don't have the internet driver, so I can't install Skype or connect to the internet on it.
Ugh.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but I mean, all things considered, we're here. It's been what time did I get home? I got home at close to 9. I worked late today because it was busy. You came over around that time, about 9:15. And we've been futzing around trying to get this podcast recorded since then.
So like 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the last couple hours for me have mostly been just sitting around playing Let It Die. So
I mean, to be fair, it's been that a little bit for me too, because I was just playing games while it was reinstalling
okay.
stuff.
Gotcha. So PlayStation 4 to the rescue. Master Race is great and all, but kind of fucked up. Can't happen to a PlayStation. What now? Anyway, sorry. Those guys are smug. That subreddit.
See,
One of the smuggest. So
I mean, for sure. I guess my only retort for it would be, if this happened to the PlayStation, I would just be out $300. I wouldn't be able to fix it.
Well, I got to send it back. This is a closed system and it's dead. So yeah, fair enough, I guess.
So but there's that.
Ease of use for us peasants, that's very important.
Also, I mean, I'm just going to jump right into this quickly because I was playing the Resident Evil 7 demo on PS4 while I was waiting, and the load times for that game are atrocious compared to the PC version.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a thing I forgot that, like, consoles don't do well, is the load times.
Load times.
Because Let It Die, I've had some qualms about, like, why is this taking so long to load? Like, it's not that big of a level thing I'm doing.
There's some weird, like, kind of hitchy load screens, too, where it's, like, kind of trying to do too much on the load screen. Like, you'll go up an escalator, and that's kind of neat, but it also has, like, Uncle Death skateboarding at the bottom, and maybe, like, the map of the dungeon in the top right or something, and it's just kind of a lot of tearing and snaggy. Like, it's not smooth. Or you're going up and down an elevator or something. It was very kind of, I don't know, not super appealing all the time. But it's a free game, I guess. I don't know. I'm not too bothered by it.
For people who don't know what it is, Let It Die is a free-to-play game for the PlayStation 4 by Grasshopper. Grasshopper
manufacturer, Suda51 involved in that.
Yeah, I just figured we should probably explain
what this is. So I guess it is only on PlayStation. It's kind of a dungeon crawling, like Dark Souls-esque.
It's like an arcadey Dark Souls. I think Brawler is the better way to put it. Like a 3D Streets of Rage with like Dark Soul mechanics, maybe, but like a Suda51 silliness to it.
Just kind of odd, deliberately odd kind of stuff, just like mushrooms and weird colorful characters and kind of but it also has like this super dingy manhunt kind of look to everything, gross serial killers, ripped up raincoats and bloody rags around and just kind of I've had a couple sessions with it now, and my first impression was not super positive because it just kind of throws a bunch of walls of text at you to explain everything. Like, there's just balloons everywhere with letters on them, and you have your Rolodex, and there's just text and text and text explaining all this stuff when you're just kind of like, I think I just punched the stuff. This doesn't seem that crazy, but it's kind of just layering a bunch of stuff. Somehow, through all of that, and stuff as well with various weapons. I actually kind of like how you're assigning multiple items to each hand, like the way your inventory for switching weapons is okay. You kind of have left hand, right hand, and it's just D-pad kind of over to switch between them.
Sure.
It's all right. But the thing I somehow missed with that first play session was essentially L targeting, locking on. I just didn't know could, so it just felt kind of like, wow, this is really loose and kind of crappy. This is really bad that there's two guys chasing me and I'm just fucked. There's nothing I can do to line up my punches so I'm maximizing my windows of time. This is really bad.
I'm so glad that I played around with it and found that right away, because I can't imagine.
No, that first 90 minutes or whatever was pretty disheartening, and then I kind of cracked through that yesterday, but I don't know. It I guess sort of like Dark Souls, when you die, you kind of lose everything, but you can go back and recover that person, but you need to kill them first. So that's a little twist on it. Your previous self is now a hater, and you need to beat them to death before you can reclaim all of that stuff.
It's cool, actually. It's a cool thing.
I don't know. I have now, this disheartening run, I've died twice, so I've lost two people. I don't know if they're both haters in the dungeon, and I can still recover both of them, or if I lose one forever. I'm not sure how exactly that maps to the Dark Souls.
They've both been drinking that haterade, so you're probably screwed.
She was tough. Like she was tough, and she was also with another. Like that's the thing when you're fighting like multiple enemies, that still gets hard for me to juggle. And I guess I got arrogant. I thought I was going through the same area again, so this is going to be easy. And they just kind of threw a level 30 guy in there. Uh, I don't know. It must scale somewhat to you because I finally realized like, oh, I can level up, sweet. And then I'm level 17 now. So then when I went
Right.
back, it was just like, hey, there's a super tough guy and he's going to kill you now. And yeah, that was on like the second floor. How far up have you made it? Have you gotten far?
I'm probably 2 hours in, so like I'm past the tutorial stuff, and I've just been kind of like the beginnings of the game, if you
Okay.
will. Yeah, so not very.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Last
just
night
straight up say I don't really enjoy it.
I've kind of been waffling a bit. I kind of like some of how it handles. Like I sort of generally like it, but it's definitely got a bit of clunkiness to it. And the areas are super kind of simple. Like they don't have that kind of satisfying like area design like Dark Souls 1 has. So it is not
Yeah.
like Dark Souls in that respect. Really, I don't know why I'm saying Dark Souls as much as I am, because it kind of isn't as similar as I thought it might be. Uh,
I mean, sure. I think the problem is that it's similar enough in how it controls and plays that when it isn't as smooth and like perfect as the Souls games are, it actually just feels shitty.
yeah. Like
That's
kind
my
of like
problem.
the No More Heroes games when you kill a guy, a bunch of coins fly up in the air, and I like that. Like that's a little Suda thing.
Uh-huh. That's also like a Scott Pilgrim thing too. That's a fun thing for
That's
sure.
a video game thing, I guess. Coins, but you get a bunch of coins. Yeah, I mean, it's got some style. That's its thing.
It does have
It's
style.
free. Probably the thing is like a friend of mine is playing it, and he's raided my dungeon and stuff like that. So I don't know. I have some kind of social hooks in it to be interested enough to look in a little bit more. I'm not sure how far down I'm gonna go.
Yo,
But,
you gonna raid my dungeon?
I don't really want to. Like that whole side of the game kind of opened up for me yesterday, and I'm not sure I want that to ever happen.
Okay.
It's like, oh, you got to set up defenses in your waiting room, or other players are going to come in here and steal all your stuff. It's just like, I don't want that to happen. And it's like, please don't. There might be that might be part of the pay to play kind of stuff, like the insurance.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
that was the Metal Gear Solid 5 thing.
Oh, right, rating bases. You could do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
like you could
Resources.
have your like main shit rated or whatever, so you would buy like basically defenses or like a peace treaty or something. I can't remember what it was to like keep players away while you were gone.
Okay, yeah, that I don't know. I'm just not that interested in that kind of stuff. Like honestly,
Right.
my Dark Souls 1 experience was completely offline. Like I played through that game with no bloodstains, no rating, like just none of that stuff. And I was just like, "Oh, this is great. This is like a really well-designed Zelda game or something." Like it was
Right.
just this is fun. But yeah, with my time with 2 has also been just like, "Oh, somebody dropped in and they killed you." Oh, okay. That's not what I want, but whatever.
See, what I found was fun in 3 specifically is I was playing through 3 like alone offline, but then again co-op with 2 other friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that was online, obviously, and it was kind of fun just being like, somebody joined your game. It's like, oh, let's fucking get him. 3 dudes like running after him.
Okay.
Like that's pretty good. But the problem is that people like just min-max for PvP in that game. So like he would still take out all 3 of us because we're just playing and having fun and trying dumb stuff and like enjoying it. And this guy comes in with like the best gear possible because he obviously put like 100 hours into it 2 days ago when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's that problem. But I don't
Yeah.
know. The PvP part's kind of fun, but it's definitely not my favorite way to first experience a Souls game.
Yeah. But hey, if you have a PlayStation, let it die. It's kind of a lot of space though. I think it's like 48 gigs or something.
Ooh.
Which is what it's at right now. It might be less, but there was a patch recently that made it more
Is that why it
substantial.
took forever to download? Must
Yeah.
be.
PlayStation games have been really big. I've been kind of bumping up against the edges of my like hard drive limit and having to delete stuff a little more frequently than I'd like. Like just kind of like I'm not done with this game yet. Like Doom is taking up 68 gigs. That's not great.
That's
But
not that bad, considering Gears of War 4 on PC takes up like 88 or something.
yeah, but there's that taking up 68. There's Uncharted taking up like 50 something, and the new DLC stuff comes out soon. So I'm not completely done with that game yet.
Are you like all digital then?
No, that's the thing. Like I'm popping in discs, but they are just means of installing the content. Like they do
Right.
not stream from the disc on the PlayStation. They are just data. So it is all hard drive based anyway. So yeah, I have Doom and Uncharted on disc, but that doesn't help me. It doesn't trim that down. And then giant patches come out and that happens. So sorry, just kind of just backtracking a bit to you were talking about the Resident Evil 7 demo. I have a question about Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Oh no. Okay.
Specifically, like, I heard you and John, I believe, both asserted that this guy Steve super sucks.
Sure.
He's just the worst. I couldn't really find, like, enough summary of how much he sucks on YouTube. Like, I watched a cutscene where he died, and they treated it like, oh no, this is super tragic. Oh no, Steve.
The like Hulk part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
the game characters love Steve, but the player hates Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Explain
first
Steve.
Okay, the first thing that happens in that game when you meet him is he is on a turret trying to kill your character. First of all, and
like
then
he is an obstacle shooting a machine gun at you. And,
no, he's just shooting a machine gun at you, and then like you shoot out the light near him, and he's like, "Wait, hold on," and then it's kind of like one of those like, "Oh, you're a human" sort of thing. It's like, well, of course she's a human. She's holding a handgun. She opened a door slowly, and she's not stumbling into fire. Like, come on.
Okay. So his excuse is, oh, I thought you were a zombie. I don't know.
Yeah.
My adrenaline was pumping. I had to shoot at something. Okay.
At another point, there's a door that has an indentation in it of two like Lugers. Mm-hmm. And you know for a fact that you need two Lugers to like put in that door so that it'll open, unlock, and you can continue on. You find those Lugers real quick after finding that door, but then he runs in and he's like, "These are cool, they're mine now," and runs off with them.
Wow, okay.
So, and his whole thing is, well, I'll give them to you if you trade me for it. So you trade him like some submachine guns you find later on. And by later on, I mean like a good 15 to 20 minutes later on. So like a decent amount of time later.
Okay.
And then there's that whole thing. You get those. But when he has the double machine guns, he likes to use them a lot in cutscenes. And he misses everything all the time. And makes the situation worse for you every time he's on the screen, basically. Like, there's one part specifically where he's right beside, like, one of the bad guys or whatever, one of the main dudes, and is, like, shooting him, and he just, like, barely clips him with, like, two submachine guns, like, face-to-face, like, closer than you and I were today, like, in my office. So, he's useless, but in that, like, same area cutscene, he starts up this what's it called? It's like a drill or something to like that you need to get started up to like dig through the earth to get out of this area you're in. And he hits a gas line full of poisonous gas and it just starts killing you.
So is he written to be an antagonistic kind of person?
Nope.
Or does the game think he's like, oh no, it's your buddy Steve?
Yeah.
He's just kind of screwed up. Isn't he lovable?
It's your buddy
Like,
Steve.
Okay.
All of this stuff is just annoying character syndrome, which is annoying but fine.
Because the characters I've heard of from like Code Veronica specifically is Alfred Ashford and his silly laugh.
Yeah, but he's actually like, at least it's a funny silly. It's not like an annoying silly. It's like a this is so bad sort of thing. Mm-hmm. There's a part where you get in a plane crash, your main character is knocked out, and Steve's first thing is to try to kiss you while you're knocked out, unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's gross, like, he's a piece of shit.
Okay.
The whole time, like, Claire doesn't show, like, any real, like, oh my god, he's so cool, or, like, I really like this guy, or anything. So they don't earn the whole, like, death sequence at all.
Okay.
It makes no sense why she's all of a sudden so sad when this, like, almost antagonistically annoying character has been screwing up everything to try to get them, like, out of this situation from the get-go. So it seems really stupid that she's, like, torn up about it.
Okay. Because, yeah, it's the only scene I saw, and it was just like, okay. Like,
Oh, and another
he was
annoying
attacking
thing.
you, but I guess he was infected or something.
Yeah, another annoying thing. That part where he's attacking you, he can two-shot you. So, like a normal boss he's like the strongest boss in the game. So not only is he annoying and like he's about to die, his last like gasping breath for attention in this game is if you're not careful, you're gonna die at that part. Because he's like, his swing is a bigger arc than like you can run away from, and he can hit you twice and kill you. You have to heal if he hits you every time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I just want more elaboration on Steve. So Steve sucks. Maybe don't play Code Veronica then? Sounds
Code
like
Veronica is actually kind of shitty.
Okay.
That's kind of a shitty game.
Okay. Resident Evil.
Yeah. Resident Evil 7, however, is kind of dope. Did you play any of it?
I played through the, like, around E3 when they first released the demo. I played through it one time, and
Okay.
I guess there's a lot of variation in it. Like, I was just kind of like, wow, that wasn't very scary, and just kind of moved on.
They updated the demo twice after that.
Okay.
So, like, there was actually patches for the demo to change what happens in it and to unlock more.
Okay.
So now the full demo is out. There's 3 different endings you can get, and you can kind of like find out a little bit more about this weird house and like family and stuff. It's cool.
It's like a gross kitchen. It's just, ew, that food has spoiled. That's gross. I don't like that.
More importantly, the new update shows off a new enemy type for that series.
Oh, okay.
The molded. It's like a weird, gross, moldy creature thing. Yeah.
So the same demo I downloaded like months ago will still work and be updated? Like I can...
If you have like automatic updates on, if not, just update it. No
Okay.
big deal. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll give it another look. The thing I remember was just like there's a moment where I got grabbed by an enemy, but it just seemed to be so like separate from gameplay. Like I wasn't moving or controlling anything anymore, so it just kind of seemed like a cutscene.
Which part?
A lady grabbed me, and presumably I died. Like
Okay.
near a door, I think. Like I was leaving, I think, and got grabbed. Does that
Okay.
sound like something that happens?
Sure. I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of seemed like a hard cut to you are not playing anymore, and I was just like, oh, okay, then I'm not worried about this because I have no
Right.
ability to respond anyway.
Right.
I don't know. It was just a little puzzling, but I don't know. First person and walking around and well realized environments and stuff. I didn't really put too much into the I guess the videotape thing. I did find a videotape and watch it, and I thought that was kind of a neat narrative device of you're walking around with a camera.
Yeah.
Doing
So
a reality TV show.
yeah, do you want to know more, or do you want me to not spoil stuff for you? For the demo.
I can hear more if there's something that really impressed you that you want to.
Well, I mean, for that part
Toss out there.
specifically, it seems like just a cool, weird narrative device. But there's a thing you can do in that demo that will carry over to that videotape that will carry over to when you're like actually in the house, because the videotape happened before, right?
Yeah.
Like you get like captured or knocked out or whatever at the end of the videotape, and
So
you
can reveal something to the character.
No, you can actually just like there's a locked. I'm just going to tell you straight up. There's a locked drawer that you can't open in the demo, but in the videotape you can get a lockpick in the same room and open it in the tape, and then when you're in the real world, it's open.
It will be unlocked. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So there's something like that, and I think that's cool. Like that's going to be probably a cool thing that they're going to work on for puzzles. I like
Okay.
that whole sequence is actually like a ghost hunting thing. There's a girl ghost that shows up 7 different times in 7 areas that you need to like see her a few times to be able to unlock the true ending.
Oh, weird. Okay.
This is what I'm saying. This demo is bananas deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just spent half hour demo time with it, and it was just like, okay, yeah. Well, I don't know.
I'd be interested in watching you play it because you haven't played through it a whole bunch. Like I've been. The problem is that I didn't know the demo was going to come out on PC because they didn't really announce anything until like 2 weeks before it did. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a PS4, so I was just like, I need to like live this demo. So I'll just do it by watching like the Resident Evil community people that I like watching. Mm-hmm. So I've seen a lot of that demo, and then like it kind of ruined the experience of playing it blind and figuring stuff out for myself. So I'd be interested to like watch somebody play it blind. I think
next time I'm over, maybe like
pick it up. Yeah, for sure. We should do it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could always share on PlayStation, but I haven't done that really very much.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Is that kind of like the Steam thing where I can like watch you play?
I mean, it's a lot of you can stream directly from the console.
No, I know that, but that's not the same thing. I don't think. As what I'm talking about, I think there's a thing where you can just like have your friends watch you play.
Really?
I think so.
Remote spectate what you're doing?
Yeah, I think so, because when I was looking through the settings, one of them was what the hell was it? Like allow friends to request to view your game or something. I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea.
Okay. I haven't done a lot of stuff with the friends list on there, so.
Right.
I guess speaking of loading times, though, impacting the experience.
Yeah.
Duke Nukem Forever on the PC.
That's not the worst.
No, it loads pretty fast.
It loads very fast.
I'm saying, like, I was kind of putting myself back 5 years to like when Duke Nukem Forever came out, and was like watching the quick look on Jump Bomb, listening to a podcast where they talk about it, stuff like that. Just kind of be like, remember when this came out? People were really mad. And one of the key things was the loading times on the console versions were excruciatingly terrible. Like they were like a minute long, and every time you died, it would throw you into a loading screen. So it just kind of made it that much worse. Whereas on PC,
that's the problem I've been having with Final Fantasy 15.
Is that just long loads after you fail, or
no? When I start up the game, it takes me like 10 minutes to just like wait through shit. It's so long, and apparently it doesn't get any better. People were saying like, out of your like 60-hour game experience, how much of it was loading? Like maybe 10 hours worth. And I was just like, oh fuck, he's probably right, because like out of my hour that I played last night, a good 20 minutes of it was waiting through loads. That's gross. That's fucking gross.
You know, it's also gross.
Yeah, Duke Nukem Forever. So, sorry. It's weird that you bring this up, because I actually played a little bit of it, like maybe 3 hours worth, about half a year ago, maybe 4 months or so, maybe.
Yeah. Had you not played it before?
Like, I had. I actually played it when it came out. I rented it.
Okay. I played the demo at the PAX where it was kind of re-revealed.
Yeah.
I think I wrote up a summary of that time.
You did.
Pixel Response. So I don't remember really when I picked this up. It must have been in a Steam sale or something. I think my threshold for it was like, I will pay no more than $5.
I got it basically for free in a Humble bundle that had like 2 or 3 games I wanted, and it was like in the pay what you want minimum tier. So I was this is basically free, so I got it that way.
Maybe that's when I got it too. I don't know, but I just saw that it was listed in my Steam stuff, and I was just like, you know what? I want to see this. Like it's been that legendary game that has been around for a decade, like lost in development hell forever and all that kind of stuff. It's not good. I kind of felt comfortable with just how it was structured or something. Like, it's just like, oh, this is a PC game from that era, like from 2003 or something. Like, it just felt familiar. somehow. So
Well, I mean,
wasn't
it plays
having
like an
a terrible
Xbox
time
game.
with all of its shittiness, because it's just like, yeah, this was just what games were like.
Hmm.
Like an original Xbox game. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure that the dated quality of it is because yeah, it's just I don't know. Or like not quite as old as like N64 era or something, but similarly like stiff and just kind of like, hey, look at this environment, and that's it. Like that's all. It's just isn't that cool? There's like a big fountain here or something, or you can draw on this whiteboard or whatever. Like it's just kind of this is not spectacle anymore, but that's all there is. So whatever, I'll just shoot these pig cops with a shotgun and move on. The stomping is terrible. Is the thing like you can't use your boot in the same awesome way you could in 3D?
You're right. It's really bad.
Like you just kind of have to look down at stuff that is small enough to stomp on, and he might. I don't know. I found it quite unsatisfying.
The game actually makes me sick. I get sick of playing after like an hour or so.
Or something? Or
yeah, I think so. Maybe like the depth of or the field of view, like depth of field is too low or something. I get super sick after 2 to 3 hours. I actually feel like my head throbbing. That's why I never got like past a certain part. Yeah.
I'm trying to I think I did about 2 90-minute sessions. I killed I think it might have been called the Bitch Mother. It was a big alien boss thing with
that's like the first 5 minutes.
No. That's in the first 5 minutes. There's the big.
Right. Okay.
This was a little more involved. You had to like bounce a thing off a wall, like a grenade, behind its shield, and then you could shoot its boobs with your rocket launcher. This is terrible. Like it's terrible. It's not sophisticated. It's just Duke Nukem has a big gun. He's got sunglasses. He's saying stupid things. Like. An observation that was in the Giant Bomb Quick Look was it just kind of looks like they threw a bunch of effects on everything, but it's like an old game underneath it all. And I kind of see that. Like, it's just kind of everything is just got like too much light bloom on it and just like weird like slime effects just kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
a gross game.
It's not it's a gross game, but to a certain kind of generation of podcast listening people or something, like if you're just paying attention to the video game industry during a certain window of time, this game became kind of a legend. So I don't feel bad about having it, or like I might play more of it just to kind of see. I think I was in the area with the infamous boob walls, but I don't know that I saw them. Like I just kind of, it was a really dark, kind of crappy area, so I might have just walked past it and not noticed that. But
maybe they patched them out.
I don't think they would bother. Like that doesn't seem like what they do with that. I don't know what prompted it exactly, other than just I was playing a lot of Doom, which is kind of an old throwbacky shooter, but well realized, I guess. Whereas this is like stiff and kind of not exactly fun. It doesn't have a great feel or action loop or anything. It just kind of...
It makes me wonder if Duke Nukem was ever fun, though. Because maybe Forever is actually just super true to how Duke Nukem was back then. The only difference is we were like 10. So it was all funny.
And a lot of the funny falls flat.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
It's hard to say things that hadn't been said, but Duke Nukem Forever, it's there. It happened. I guess there is that Bulletstorm talk with like Duke Nukem is coming back in a weird new way, where he's being added as a playable character to a Bulletstorm re-release.
Yeah.
Which I never got through all of Bulletstorm, and that at least seemed to have like some inventive action mechanics in it. Like it just kind of demanded more of your shooting than just shoot their head. It was kind of...
I think I played like 15 minutes of it. I own it, I think, but...
I have it on PS3. I probably put a couple hours in, but I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm that intrigued by that or not, but People Can Fly have made some fun action games, so...
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Doom a little bit since you brought
Okay.
it up. How are you liking Doom? The reason I ask is because I've been playing more of it myself.
I've generally been enjoying it, but I'm definitely at a point where I'm kind of ready for it to be over, and not
Yeah.
exactly because of like, oh man, this is way too challenging. Like the part I'm at isn't even combat heavy right now. It's just kind of, I feel like I got the MacGuffin. I've been to hell. I've been back. I'm here again. Like I just feel like they're kind of just drawing out the final bit a little bit, and it's just kind of, I don't know. I had my fill
Right.
of its action. So
How many
pacing-
hours?
I don't know that it really tells you. I'm trying to.
Oh, right. You're playing on console. My bad.
I'm playing on console. I'd guesstimate at least a dozen hours. Like,
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like I put in a campaign's worth of time.
I feel like you've probably. I think you're around the end. I think people were saying it's about as long as you said. So you're probably at like 10 or 11. I bet you're around the end.
No, I feel like I'm really like at the final thrust of it.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be over. It's just, I don't know. I don't feel like momentum is really built up. I played that game in a very kind of segmented way. I think you were kind of saying you did too, where maybe a level or two a night max.
I'm currently, doing that for sure.
Because it just kind of has very distinctly, like, you got 5 combat medals, you got to the end of the thing, like, loading screen. All right, I did a level, I'm good for today. So I played it like that over a couple weeks, and, well, you know, I still generally enjoy very much the way it flows and plays and the arsenal and all that kind of stuff, with, I guess, one exception with the enemies we were kind of talking about. I just don't like how Pinky Demons can kind of throw off the whole flow of things, because it's just like they're just invincible unless you shoot them in the back, and it's just kind of, that's not fun. I have rockets, I'm shooting it, this should just work. Like, stop it. This is ruining everything, because it's just kind of, I'm dodging, I'm shooting everything, I'm flying around, and then, oh crap, it's a Pinky Demon, there's nothing I can do except dodge around it or jump over it. Oh shit, I got hit and I died instantly. Like, it just kind of seems to be able to one hit you like that, and I don't know. It's thrown off my my combos, I guess, a couple times.
Sure.
But where are you at? Like, did you get a fairly large gun or anything? Or
I'm on my way back to hell.
Okay.
Again. I should say, I guess.
I'm trying to think how many times I've been to hell now. The first time you go is pretty sweet. There's like a big kind of build up to being able to.
Yep. It's pretty good.
Okay. So the second time,
and then you come back and you realize that you just want to be back in hell because it's kind of boring being on like a Mars station again, like every other game.
I guess I kind of like the Mars station area though. Like, I think
I like hell better.
Okay. Well, I don't know. There's plenty of both. So, Doom in stores now.
Yeah.
I don't know what I really want. Like what else I want from that game. Like, it's not really the multiplayer. I guess I've just played a bunch of it. I'm happy with what it is. I just have kind of had enough for now.
I feel bad because the more and more I play it, the like less and less I want to. Like, I'm getting my fill, right? It's like, okay. Like, it's kind of like the same with the original Doom. Is I don't ever remember beating it as a kid. Mainly because, like, my parents didn't like me playing that and stuff when it came out. And then I kind of just forgot it existed for a long time until it, like, came back. But when Doom and Doom 2 came out on the XBLA, me and a friend one night, we just, like, were hanging out and just took turns, like, passing the controller back and forth and played, like, 12 hours or something of those games.
Okay.
And then I never touched them again until now, like a Doom game.
Okay.
Because I got my fill at that time, and that was, like, 5 years ago. So I'm thinking that, like, if I see this through to the end and just, like, do the final push, that's probably going to take me a while. I'm not going to want another Doom for a good long while.
Like 5 years.
Like, it's really, really good at what it does. It's really good at recreating that feeling from the past for a new generation, but it's super monotonous. Really?
Yeah, like they can kind of throw new areas and kind of add a couple more types of monsters as they go along. But yeah, I guess where I'm at, there's not going to be any new demons. It's just different combinations of them.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. It's I've got all the weapons. I just at some point my upgrading has stagnated a bit because I can't just throw points at stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I need to accomplish mastery achievements or something for them. And it's just kind of, I don't know when I'd ever be able to kill two with one shot from the super shotgun. Like, that's just not happening frequently.
Oh,
I use
really?
it a lot.
Because,
But-
like, those mastery achievements are, like, what I live for in that game. I love
Okay.
unlocking them and then just being like, all right, I'm using this gun for, like, an hour until I get this. Like, that's
I
my
guess maybe
favorite
I'll,
part.
Maybe I'll, like, pay closer attention to what they're asking of me and try that out to kind of get me through this last stage of the game because, I don't know, yeah, I've kind of just been defaulting to my favorites over and over, so...
What are your favorites?
Rocket launcher and shotgun.
The super shotgun or normal shotgun?
I've kind of been using the normal shotgun
Sure.
more.
With the,
But-
like, mods, I like it more myself, too.
Yeah, with the explosion shot and everything, it's pretty good. But I don't know. I'll try to see that through before everyone spoils the ending next week on every podcast. I don't know what to expect really with Game of the Year, but
Yeah.
or if anything noteworthy happens in that story in the final act that they'd bother telling you.
I was going to say, I don't think it will, to be
Like,
honest.
Doom guy like shoots this demon and then like kicks its eyeball into its head and it's crazy, and then he goes to sleep again until the next game.
And then you realize you were the demon all along.
And then 2028 is when the next one's coming out. It's going to be sweet. Because wasn't Doom 3 2004? It was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
okay. Sure.
So
I don't know.
You know, you're on a 5-year schedule for Doom, but, you know, it might be a while before this next one.
I'm okay with that.
I just want to ask one question more about id stuff. Like,
Yeah.
do you care about Quake? Are you excited about
Yeah.
Quake? Okay.
Yeah, I am actually. I do like Quake.
For its multiplayer angle on stuff?
Yes. Yeah. Like,
just
the single player,
granting
I never cared about.
Yeah, fair enough. But hopefully that turns out too. I haven't looked at the multiplayer in Doom at all. I've heard people have been saying it's kind of lackluster, but if the combat feels as good as it does,
It does. It feels good. It feels like a weird Doom cross Halo thing. It's fun.
I like Halo multiplayer.
I know you like Halo. I think you'll like it, honestly. It plays a little bit different, but it's still smooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
But all of these things are just kind of, well, I guess that's staying installed in my hard drive. So what
Right.
can't go? Like I've just been deleting a bunch of indie games and stuff that I meant to play, but probably won't realistically get around to. I should probably go through Everybody's Gone to the Rapture one afternoon so I can get rid of it. Like,
So, I'm going to talk about the PlayStation 4 a little bit and how I'm a bit disappointed because
Okay.
like I didn't realize this was a thing. So, my PS3 was like my console of choice for years before like I upgraded my PC and went that route.
okay.
Because of this, I have a little under, I think, like 8 years of just like PSN games, PS Plus free stuff that I could re-download, Rock Band stuff, all of this.
Mm-hmm.
None of that carries over to the PS4.
Yeah.
That's shitty.
true.
That's really shitty. That's like a bad
Well,
thing.
okay. Sorry. I guess you're 99% yes. Like, there's a few where they have kind of given you a free updated version for the PS4. Like, I know with that game company games, I think it was like Flower and Journey and stuff. They're just like, hey, you get the PlayStation 4 version. Like, don't worry about it, and then you could just get that.
Maybe I have to
but-
look up a list or something of
But
companies that
a
offer
lot
that.
a lot of stuff is just that is only on the PlayStation 3. I guess just because the architecture is so different. And also they're really pushing that PlayStation Now service, which
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never really looked at. I guess end of this story for me. Our PlayStation 3 is also currently hooked up to
Yeah.
our entertainment
No,
center.
this is
Like-
what I was getting at, is that the PS4 is hooked up to one of those like anytime ports or whatever. So anytime I turn it on, no matter what channel it's on or whatever, it'll like go to the PlayStation 4 and load it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been having it where I'm just like consistently on the HDMI like source on my TV for the PS3. And then if I like want to play a PS4 thing, I'll just turn the PS4 on and it'll like kick the PS3 off. And then when I turn the PS4 off, I'll go back to PS3. And that's a ridiculous thing to have to do.
Just that it didn't really replace the previous one. It's just kind of another thing.
Like,
Just
here's the thing. I had the PlayStation 3 fat, and I was happier than a pig in shit. I could play, like, my old games. Everything was good, right?
Yeah.
Then I got a little pissy because it yellow buttoned on me, yellow lighted, which is, like, their equivalent of the red ring.
Yeah.
And I had to get another one, so I got a new PlayStation 3 at the time. And that did not have backwards compatibility. However, they were releasing some of my favorite games on the PSN like store, the PS store, for as like PlayStation 1 classics and PS2 games and all that stuff, and giving some of the old PlayStation 1 games out with PS Plus. So I was happy again. I was like, you know what? It's about time I got like a digital version of this anyway. Like, I really like Resident Evil, so of course I'm gonna buy it again for $5. Big deal. And to like just have it on the hard drive to play whenever, and like that sort of thing. So I was happy again. I was like, you know what, fine, if you're not gonna let me play my old discs, at least give me like the option to get it again. I'm not happy anymore. I don't want to buy them again, and I can't even. They're not on the new store. Like, I'm so fucking angry about that, because that's my thing, is that I grew up with PlayStation. So this new version of it is like cutting away from that. They're like, we don't fucking care about your childhood with us. Get the new thing, the HD remaster, you fucking bitch. That's what they said to me.
Implicitly, yeah. This has been the HD remaster generation for sure. Like, everything is getting. I mean, I was just talking about Bulletstorm, like that matters, and that's coming back full price. It's. Yeah, I don't know.
And here's the thing, right? Is that
Star Wars was on.
I bought the HD remaster of Final Fantasy X and X2 on the PS3, and I don't get a PlayStation 4 version of it. I'd have to pay another $60. Unless that's one of the free upgrade things. I have to look into this more. If it's not,
I super
though,
fucked up my Final Fantasy X HD purchase because I bought it on my Vita assuming it was crossplay, because everything was
right.
that year, it seemed, and it was just like, wait, where's my Final Fantasy? Like, I just assumed it was like an easy way to purchase it at night while I was in bed, kind of thing. Like, I just, yeah, I'll buy that. Now the only way I could play that is on the Vita, and that's never ever going to happen. Like,
right, because you're not crazy.
I'm not crazy. Well, my purchase history says I'm crazy,
right?
But I'm not crazy. Like, I thought they were more generous than that, but they were not. So yeah, no, Square will charge you 3 times for that game. And hey, I think I finally figured out the sphere grid, but I'll never be able to employ that knowledge. So
it's a shame.
You'll
never be able to hear the laugh again.
I think that legacy stuff, their only kind of thing for that is the PlayStation Now stuff. Like, I think that's where they'd want to focus your attention. I'm just like, no, we still care about PlayStation. Look at this. But it is unfortunate that it isn't just there for you, that legacy stuff. Like, I still have to boot up for PlayStation Plus, get the new PlayStation Plus stuff on the PS3, because it's never the same.
Right.
Which I guess is cool, because that means I'm getting more games, but less and less likely I'm going to go back and play giant sprawling stuff on the PS3, but I don't know. Like,
the other thing that annoys me is that I wish I had kept up my PS Plus subscription and just downloaded the the PlayStation app for when I eventually got a PlayStation 4 to have stuff.
Oh, like while you were subscribed, keep shoring up those free titles?
Yeah, because I didn't like, and they don't retroactively give you any of it.
Yeah.
Which I don't expect them to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like saying now that I wish I had done that. My assumption was that I could get like a lot of the stuff I had, because why wouldn't I be able to? It's old shit that you can play on like a fucking phone emulator.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
I think you would have been able to, go on the PlayStation Store. I was doing that when I knew I was going to get one, but didn't have one yet. Like, I think I got Contrast and like Resogun and stuff by just going online and
that was smart. That's smart.
So, I probably missed a couple somewhere in there, but
I'm going to go ahead and say to anybody out there listening, you should do the same if you ever plan on getting a PS4. Like, if you have like a PS3 and like already have PlayStation Plus, just download that fucking app, man, and like download or
claim your stuff,
claim your shit,
build your future gaming
yeah.
habits. Yeah. I mean, I don't know when the last time I've been like super impressed with a PlayStation Plus game was, really, though. Like, I guess Yakuza 5, I appreciate that they put that there, but I haven't actually played it, so
yeah.
I appreciate the gesture, though. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, PlayStation.
Fuck them.
But also, yay, because PT? Or no?
I don't have PT.
I know. I don't know if I can give you PT. Like, I don't know if I can recommend it to you and there's some secret backdoor way of still getting it.
No, because I'm pretty sure they just would have, like, the internet would have had everybody do that.
If they, yeah, you're right. There would have been a secret, like, not even a secret. There would have just been ways to hand it around and share.
There would have been a PlayStation 4 community where it's like join to get PT, and then like somebody would message you when you joined it to like download it from here, and then you could like unjoin, and it would have been a thing for sure.
Yeah. So, do you have any interest? Like, hey, I got it. If you want to come over and play it, check it out firsthand.
You know, I kind of don't.
Okay.
Because it looks, to me, it looks like a more boring Resident Evil 7.
If they've kind of added a lot of density to it, yeah, it's...
Resident Evil 7 has a gun and an axe. Like, it has weaponry.
Yeah, PT doesn't have that. You can zoom in on stuff. You can kind of look at stuff. It's crazy.
Right.
You can look at stuff like videos on YouTube. That's not true. I just had to lie to get to this next point.
Yeah.
Bumpy paths.
We should say, because we haven't done a podcast since, besides like that weird one with Hank where we just kind of did whatever.
Just improvise, like, conversation time.
Yeah. We should say, you're back online. You're part of, like, the Discord. You're part of actually two Discords.
It's true. I'm on 2 Discords.
You're back on Reddit full time.
Oh my god. That's the thing. Yeah, Reddit is insidious in how you just keep scrolling, man. There's just new content. There's just new stuff. You were kind of lecturing me that you use Reddit different than I do, and I'm not sure what you mean exactly.
Okay. So the way it sounds like you use Reddit is you'll open up the app and you probably have like on your home page or whatever, you're logged in, so you have like whatever you want on your front page sort of thing.
Like a couple of subreddits I'm like interested in,
yeah. I go to Reddit if I want to know about one specific thing for like an hour. So I'm like, I won't go to reddit.com. I'll go to reddit.com/r/Resident Evil and just browse that subreddit for an hour. Or like r/Silent Hill and just browse that for a while. I won't look at random shit on Reddit at all.
Okay. That's probably a wise way to
It's
save
weird,
your time.
man. Because I know what will happen if I just go to reddit.com.
Like
I won't leave it.
Just like, hey, what's going on here? Oh man, that's crazy. Oh, look at that.
I'll be taking a bathroom break, and instead of like taking 1 minute, I'll be in there for 2 hours, and then I'll get deep vein thrombosis, and then I'll die.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I've died several times. No, but there has been kind of just time disappearing. I'm just like, what? Oh man, and like definitely interrupting. No, I'm not saying interrupting, but contributing to staying up way later again, which has been a off and on thing for me. So I have like a handful of subreddits I'm like actually interested in, but then it's like, oh, no one's posting on here right now. All right, well, switch back to just everything. And
Do you want to go ahead and discuss what those subreddits are, or are they secret?
they're not secret. It's like Meg64, Giant Bomb, Ask Reddit, which I should probably get out of there. But I'm sort of just like, because I can answer in theory. Maybe someone will be like, "What's your favorite Godzilla movie?" And I'll be like, "Oh, finally!" And then Smog Monster. It's the best one. It's not true, but it's Shin Godzilla now, probably. But anyway, Waypoint. I think I'm still following Waypoint. I'm not really sure why, because I
You're
don't
not a big
read
fan?
anything. I don't read the stuff. I just listen to the podcast. So I guess I'm a podcast fan.
Okay.
But that's kind of the extent of it. But yeah, it's just they're kind of small communities, so there's not infinite stuff all the time, which is kind of what I expect when Reddit is involved. So, but that's probably also the danger. It also does kind of create a weird, like, I don't know. It just seems like every thought anyone could ever have has already been expressed on a thread somewhere. Like, you're just kind of like, if you do see a topic where you do have an opinion and then you check the comments and you're like, oh shit, this is basically exactly how I would have worded my opinion. Like, I have some clone somewhere. Like, it just kind of makes you feel like less of an individual. Do you get that? Has that ever happened? Okay.
Nah.
I guess because you're not using Reddit the wrong way. So good job.
I'm not using it the right way, maybe.
Don't find alternate Paul Fleck. Like, there's another guy somewhere who's way into Resident Evil. And
there's a lot of people that are really into Resident Evil, and I like watch them on a nightly basis to see what their new speedrun record is.
Okay.
I know they're out there. I know. But you're right. I'm never supposed to meet them. Otherwise, like, the universe will implode.
Self-perception is just like, what the hell? Like, what am I? What do I have to contribute? But, so, I guess through one of these things, Meg64, that led down a little trail. So, I'm a subscriber to their Patreon. I give those guys money because I like what they do.
Okay.
And, yeah. So they posted a video where it's Blind Box is what it's called. Rocco does this show where he kind of just talks to collectors and like fiendish, enthusiasts about stuff. This week's was Aaron from Game Grumps showing off the Game Grumps game collection. So just kind of going through all of these weird games down there. Doshin the Giant was probably the one I was most like, oh, what? That's crazy. I didn't know it came out in Europe. Like, I was just excited about that. Do you know that game?
No, I don't, actually. No.
I remember it because there were screenshots from it in Nintendo Power when I was subscribed to it. Because there was some talk that it might come to North America.
Okay.
It never did, but it's essentially a god game. You play a giant who kind of manages an island full of villagers. And I watched some footage of it, and it looks really boring. But I was excited about it in 2002 or whatever, because I did, what else? I had a GameCube, and that was it. So I was looking for anything. But still just kind of hearing like these kind of weird deep cut games and just kind of weird stuff got me intrigued about Game Grumps in a way I hadn't been. I've seen a handful of things here and there.
I'll say even you've been on the opposite end and been completely dismissive of
Game Grumps specifically.
Yeah.
When did? Okay, sorry.
I mean, I don't really care. Like,
okay,
like I said when we were talking in person and the stuff that never got recorded.
Yeah,
they have no impact on my life. So I really don't care.
I mean, I actually saw a bunch of them at the Game Days panel that we went to in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
15? I think it was 15. Yeah.
Sure.
No.
It was probably 14?
It's probably 14. I'm just going to say it's probably 14 instead.
Okay.
So Game Days 2014. They were there, and it's I've been kind of aware of all of that for a while. Metal Gear Awesome. I watched Scene of the Tester. There's just kind of been familiarity with Ego Raptor and stuff like that. Anyway, I started watching the Sonic series, and you gave me some alarming news that Sonic 06 is never completed. Is that true?
Right. Yeah. That was one of the big reasons why.
I'm like 11 episodes in. I just fought Silver and everything.
That was
around and let it be a sound.
Did you get to the It's No Use episode?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
It was pretty good.
It's really good.
That was not fun, but I guess that's why I didn't have to play it. I kind of get the vicarious enjoyment of video game viewership because it's bad games you want to see.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to suffer through it. You just get to be amused.
Right.
But,
or like you don't have to pay money to like get this thing you're not probably going to like. Like it's just better to view something you are pretty sure you're going to hate.
Yeah. And, skipping over redoing sections and stuff like that. But
yeah.
So right, I guess there's some technicalities to this. So they do see the credits roll because Sonic defeats Dr. Eggman or something. But there's some incentive to play through that game multiple times as multiple characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
Sonic Adventure was structured. I really...
Well, I mean, first of all, like going back to the Grumps themselves, that was one of the big reasons people were pissed off about the whole John thing leaving and like making conspiracy theories about like whatever. Like there was a whole subreddit, of course.
Was that the last one they did before JonTron left? Or
yes, he left during that. That's why they didn't finish.
See, because I scrolled like way deep into like the playlists. Like this is an old one. I'm pretty sure this is some old stuff. But you're saying that was the end of the old stuff. Like that's
okay. There was that and some like Game Grumps verses where like the two hosts or whatever play like a competitive game against each other or whatever thrown in there. But like that was it.
Okay.
And that's like one of the things that piss people off because they put so much time and effort into that series and like people loved that series because it's probably some of the best stuff they've done, honestly. Like they had good chemistry during it. The game gave them a lot of like funny, dumb things that they could laugh at and make fun of. Like it was just a good series. And like right when they were about to finish it, they kind of like have a little breakup or whatever. So the fan base like rioted essentially.
Huh. When did this happen? Like I was still around. I guess I just didn't. I wasn't.
When would that have been? 2011, 2012?
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. I don't know. Ignorant about that. I've subsequently been watching a bunch of the like Game Grumps animated, which is just kind of highlights, but animated by various YouTubers and kind of
right.
Summarizing little bits and stuff. DuckTales was pretty funny. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff. Those guys have been making content for years, and there's lots of it. And some of it has laughs in there. So, A-okay. But, yeah, I don't know. I think it was just kind of something just lended credence to it. Seeing the game collection and just being like, oh, he knows his shit. Like, I wasn't sure. I just saw...
No, it was definitely at a time when you were just snarking about like YouTube people in general. I think it's because of PewDiePie. I was
pretty scared of the future, yeah, for sure. Oh man, I had a weird turning point with some of that too. Not to the point where I'm like I'm one of the bros and I'm watching all the stuff, but
should we talk about PewDiePie for a second? Because he's been doing weird shit
or something. Okay, sure. If you got some new PewDiePie news, I watched some weird like. Him addressing people. Anyway, I've watched like a video to completion. It was essentially just him talking about people being critical of his. They were calling him Nazi. They were saying he had said like Nazi stuff, and he was addressing that and calling everybody salty, which was also one of the first times I've heard that phrase be used that way. So
really interesting. Yeah. That's a pretty big like. Thing people say recently anyway. Say.
And now so thanks for that. What
Felix.
What's his name? Felix. There you go.
So that video in particular was kind of interesting because it felt like he was definitely sick of shit. And he was kind of almost attacking like these people, calling them out on their bullshit at least, and like just being like, this is like slander, like this is actually bullshit and like terrible things to say. Or whatnot. And like he knows, man. Like he even says in like that video and other videos how like I don't really care about the like it's cool to hate PewDiePie thing or the we hate PewDiePie train. Like he knows. He's not an idiot, obviously. Mm-hmm. But no, he for a long time, like, a lot of his videos were basically just, like, almost weird vlogs or something. Like, he did do straight up a bunch of vlogs when he was shooting that, like, YouTube Red shit or whatever, that show. But he was also just doing some weird stuff where, like, I think a video was, like, these challenges, like, try not to smile challenge, where, like, it's showing, like, the person who's taking the challenge has, like, their webcam on or whatever, and they're watching the, like, try not to smile or laugh video. It's just that sort of thing. Like, he was doing that sort of thing for a while instead of, like, gameplay stuff.
Okay.
And then when he was getting close to 50 million subscribers, he did a video that said that he was going to delete his YouTube channel at 50 million subscribers, and, like, started a big controversy there. And he ended up deleting, like, one of his secondary channels that he didn't care about, but
okay,
it's still kind of a big deal because his secondary channel had, like, 1 point something million subscribers on it, so he was still getting, like, revenue off of it. But whatever.
Okay.
He's been doing weird shit to stir stuff up, basically, lately.
I probably saw that Nazi addressing thing through Reddit anyway. So it's all just like, oh, what's this on the front page? Weird. And watching it. So that has happened. I don't know. Just trying to come to terms with the modern internet and what's going on and how things work now, instead of just being mad that it isn't like 50 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't it old Hollywood? I think I understand that. That just made more sense. But
more importantly, that, like, what's happening now doesn't take away or detract from, like, the other stuff that's always there and is classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why it's called a classic, and why, like, some of these, like, YouTube people will be forgotten about next year. Like, they're not gonna last very long. They're a fad. Like, everything on the internet is a fad these days.
I guess it's hard to kind of, like, with Reddit kind of presenting new things to me, like, all the time. It's just like, what the hell is this? What is this? This is huge, apparently, and just kind of, like, finding out. Oh no, yeah, but it started 2 years ago. Like, you're right, it comes and goes really quickly. Like,
yeah.
Empires rise and fall in 24 months. I don't know. But I guess just back down the trail, back to where we were before, how this started with me. There was a thing in that Mega 64, like, a game collection video that I kind of hadn't really thought about, which was there was a demo for Resident Evil 4 included in this, like, compilation Pure Evil thing for GameCube.
That's right.
And I guess it just kind of tickled some stuff about just like, oh man, like, demos are way rarer than shipping games, because who cares? Like, that will come out and just be ported everywhere if it's successful. Like, Resident Evil 4 is everywhere, but this weird specific version of it is kind of hard to come by. So I watched some footage of that and just marveled at, like, the inventory system was different, the way enemies move was a little bit different. Like, there's just kind of peculiarities to it. But it's a game, like, I've played through several times and I've seen a bunch over the last decade, but it's just different. It was kind of cool. And it also made me kind of freak out because I was like, oh shit, I hope I didn't throw away my Metal Gear Solid 2 demo, because it's just, that's rarer than Metal Gear Solid 2, you know?
Right. I have a Resident Evil 2 demo that came with Resident Evil Director's Cut.
Dude, what's on there? What is it different?
It's the
version of that out there already? Like, you gotta.
It's Leon's A campaign side of the streets that you go through. I can't remember if there's a cutscene with Kendo, the gun shop owner, or not.
Okay.
There might not have been. You get to the police station, and instead of you meeting up with Ada in the garage, like, about half an hour or so into the game, the demo ends with, like, this mysterious woman who takes a shot at you in the STARS office, and then, like, it doesn't even do the full pan up to her face.
Huh. Okay.
It's
so
weird.
It's more mysterious than the final game because it's a tease.
I should, like, find a system that'll play in and just, like, stream that or something. Do a video on it. Yeah,
just because those are so unique as opposed to the finished game is readily available, kind of like it was. Yeah, so I don't know. It just kind of stirred up a bit of that collector lust for like weird oddities
Weird demos.
like that. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure I would have been in that era where it's just like I'm in Best Buy or something. It's like, oh, the Pure Evil collection. I already have those games, and then just like walk away. But it's like, dude, you should trade those in and get this because this is like this is exclusive stuff is on here. You know, like I just didn't think that way back then. So
what about that chainsaw controller?
I know. I was like, that's dumb. That doesn't look comfortable. I'm not going to buy that.
That, like, PS2 chainsaw controller version is, like, kind of rare. And then there's, like, a black version of that PS2 chainsaw version controller, and that's super rare. So,
and these were just, you know, these were just available in stores when I was into games. I just didn't
when you
think
worked
about
there.
It. No, that would have been before.
Oh, really?
Well, I think I started there in like 2010 or something. So, I mean, there would have been this weird period. There was stuff where it would be like someone would come trying to trade stuff in, and it technically has like no value in the system anymore because EB doesn't care. But
right,
you could acquire it yourself if you were willing to do business like that.
Did you ever steal from EB?
No. I got accused of doing so, though, and was really bummed out about it when I left. Yeah. I was just like, did you take a used PSP? I have 2 PSP. No, I own those. Why would I do that? But, yeah, there was something
apparently that was a
PSPs.
Thing for GameStop and EB. Like, a lot of people that work there that, like, either just talk on the internet now or, like, do internet stuff or whatever, just, like, admit to being like, yeah, it was just like a common thing for people to be like, well, I can't give you like anything but store credit for that game, but I'll give you like $10 cash right now for it and stuff, which apparently they didn't want their employees doing, and like just like taking pre-orders for themselves and stuff, like a bunch of like kind of underhanded stuff.
I guess I will clarify, if you're just saying like underhanded stuff, I don't know that it's underhanded, but there was a couple occasions where games would come up with trade value 0 and they were trading in a bunch of stuff, and they're just like, dude, I don't care, I don't want that. Yeah. And I would be like, I'm gonna take the garbage out. Oh, I have WWE SmackDown 2008 and Guitar Hero World Tour now. I don't really care.
Yeah. But, something about something about you just reminded me, somebody saying like it was common practice where like sometimes to get rid of stock you would have to do like a 0 out on it or whatever they would call it or something like that, and then like you're supposed to destroy it, but most people would just like keep it even though the company considered it stealing. Okay. I don't know.
One I seriously like don't consider theft on my part at all. It was at Blockbuster when they were closing. There was a just completely fine Xbox 360 wired controller just in our dumpster. Yeah. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, someone else had been emptying out, like, inventory or whatever, and it was, like, cut up, like, the packaging, but not the controller was fine. So I was just like, well, I'm just going to take this home. Like, I was clocked out. It was just, I'm in a dumpster dive for this free controller because it's right here. And it's great.
Do you remember that podcast episode where we talked about dumpster diving for a while?
What prompted that? Because there was an It's Always Sunny episode about it that I did watch.
Because at that time, I remember I was looking on the internet. I saw a picture on the internet, probably on Reddit or like on social media, of like somebody saying like, look at this gaming haul I got from like a dumpster or whatever. And that led me down this rabbit hole of just like a couple hours that night, like searching this subreddit for like these, what people have pulled out of like the dumpsters of like a Blockbuster and a GameStop and stuff like that. And like their stories of like getting in trouble and all this sort of thing. So I was like super into this idea for a while at that time, and it just kind of bled into the podcast.
Okay. Hey, if it's there, it's just garbage. Just throwing it out. Might as well take it. But it's like all kind of balancing your personal pride and how much you want to be in a dumpster and stuff like that. But if it's an electronics store, it's probably not full of banana peels. I don't know. Like,
And I remember us talking about the legality of it and how like there are certain ones that you just like
probably
can't.
private property, but
Right. And that is illegal.
actually, yeah, at the mall specifically, there was kind of a locked enclosure where all the dumpsters were, whereas the Blockbuster one was just sitting behind the building, which is now a food mart of some kind.
Right.
I miss video stores, man.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, one of the DVDs we actually had at the Rogers I worked at was the Penn and Teller Bullshit series,
Okay.
which I've started watching a handful of those on Crave, and kind of enjoy it, but I prefer their magic stuff.
I was gonna
Like,
say, like when we wrote down Penn and Teller, I don't want to talk about bullshit. I want to talk about their magic because I don't care about bullshit.
this was kind of like me trying to find just a big magic show to watch, and it's just like, oh well, there's a couple shows on Crave. Wait, these are more like reality show documentary type stuff. Like it wasn't really what I was looking for. So most of what I've been watching has just been their Fool Us show on YouTube.
Yep. Okay, sure. Fool Us is actually on Netflix as well.
Is it?
The full episodes, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I didn't even think to check because
That's
Netflix
what's
has been letting me down so much with things I want to watch.
That's why, like, when you put this on the list, I was like, dope, I've been watching a bunch of them too.
Oh man, I would love to see the full format shows because the YouTube is just kind of each
The clips,
individual
yeah.
segments, and then maybe you'll get like them doing a trick at the end if you find that linked somewhere. But
They
yeah,
do a
it's been
trick at the end of each one.
very chopped up and not the best way to go about it, but
Yeah.
still just kind of that, impressive sleight of hand stuff. I'm scratching my head. I don't even know what kind of secret magician's code they're talking in at the end of the segments. So I don't know.
There was one that I picked up on, and I felt like a goddamn genius.
Oh, like what they were saying? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like it was the one time, and it was like one of these card tricks or whatever, where it's like, this is your card right there, and you look in the audience, and like somebody's holding the card or something. I don't know. It's one of these, right?
Okay.
And Penn was like explaining that he thinks he knows like how he did it or whatever, and then he starts talking about Star Wars and saying like, did you pull a Skywalker or Luke Skywalker? I was like, oh, a Force, got it, all right, cool. I felt super. I was like, yeah, I get it, I'm in the lingo. And then like the next one came up and it's just like, I have no fucking idea what you're saying at all.
It's like, would you say my father's ring? Like it's just something like my father's ring. It's pretty good. It's well crafted. Would you say like it's just I don't know what you mean right now, but I know you're saying something obtuse. But oh well,
it's a little annoying too because when they're talking like that,
segment, and it's just like I guess they know. I don't.
Well, when they're talking like that, and like it shows like the dude standing there, you can like see him just like be like, oh fuck, like he knows. Yeah. So you know that he knows, and you're like, I don't know.
You don't know. So you're just like, well, I thought it was still impressive. I don't know.
Right.
How was the card in a tea bag? That doesn't make any sense.
I know that he knows that he knows. It's like, wait, what? I don't know.
This is great, though. I'm glad we had this conversation because now I know there's full episodes available, and I will continue to check that out.
There's full episodes, yeah.
Yeah, I just like their duo. Like they're just solid. They just know what they're doing. They got a good shtick. It's
I mean, there's
fun. Dynamic. I don't know.
There's a reason why they're the biggest magician act like ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're honestly, the thing I like about them too is like a lot of times they'll like show the trick being done, like for their thing or whatever, like the cups and balls and stuff. They'll do it with like the clear cups.
Or
cups. Like there's like the smoking one or whatever where he's like, okay, let's look at it from the other side, the side that like Teller was hiding, where he was doing all the trickery. Mm-hmm. I think that is the coolest part because we know that like magic isn't actually magic.
Yeah.
It's just like somebody with amazing skill to like fool you. So it's super, super awesome just seeing somebody very skillful do a thing very well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like about it. Like, I don't really care about the, like, oh, I don't know how he did that. I was like, I like the part where it's like, I know how he did that. I'm going to watch it again and just, like, marvel at how flawlessly he did it.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Strip away the artifice. Yeah.
Yeah. For Penn and Teller, have you heard of their, oh my god, what the fuck is it called now? I think it's, like, Magic Mystery Tour. Magic and Mystery Tour. You have to look
Beatles
that up.
album, but okay.
It's 3 episodes. They're on YouTube, and it's basically them like going to different places in the world and like seeing how magic is like done there and like the cultural differences and stuff. And it's super fucking cool. The ones they have are India, China, and Egypt, I believe.
Okay. So just checking out street magician acts there and kind of appreciating the different takes on the art, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's super, super cool.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, Penn and Teller. At this point in the show, I guess we're just going to throw up a bit of a disclaimer. The rest of the episode is going to be about Star Wars Rogue One. Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Right.
We're going to talk all about it. Like, you know, if Darth Vader has parented anyone else, we're going to tell you who. You know, we're going to reveal all the secrets. So, if you've seen it, or if you don't care, continue to listen.
Yeah.
But if not, thanks for listening to everything thus far, and have a great week.
Yeah, there's not going to be anything like if you want spoiler to be spoiler free for the movie, you're not going to miss any other talk. This is all just about that now. So.
Yeah, we're not going to tangent off into talking about, you know, some cool soup recipe or something. Like, you're not going to miss any awesome content. So.
But I mean, you might.
If it's pertaining to the movie, but yeah.
So maybe you should go see the movie and then come back.
You know what? I guess we can both say that. I think we both feel positively about the movie and think you might want to check it out. And then you can listen to the segment. So.
You know what? I'll just tease in and say I think it's one of the best Star Wars movies in a long time. So if that doesn't get you going, maybe you should, like, you probably don't care enough, first of all. But if it does, you should go see it and then come back, and I'll tell you why I think it's one of the best. There you go.
There you go. All right, so...
That's enough warning. That's like 2 minutes of warning. So no scroll at the beginning. That was the first thing where I was like, yeah,
it's a little different.
It's a little different, not in a way I like, to be honest. I like the scroll. I have to say, I do. I understand why it's not there because of like what this thing is, but it doesn't feel like a Star Wars experience without it to me.
I was kind of wondering how they would handle that, like in the hour before the movie. I was kind of chatting with a friend of mine about, like, what do you think? Are they going to do? Do you think they'll do a scroll? Do you think they won't do a scroll? Do you think they'll have like a Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away, or what are we?
And they did have that. That's why it felt weird.
And I think that it's kind of like a okay compromise for me. I kind of also like that it just establishes that this can play by different rules than your average Star Wars movie thus far.
Sure.
Like, do a title card, which you can't do that in a Star Wars movie because you have a big scroll that tells you the title.
You're right.
Now it's just like, hey, let's play this a little differently. So I kind of got over that.
No, you're totally right. The only thing I'm saying here is that when I'm going to a movie that has to do with Star Wars, it really makes me feel good to see A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far, Far Away or whatever.
Yeah.
Then nothing, then burn, and then the scroll. Yeah. It just feels good, and it felt kind of like a blue balls thing that I got a little bit of it, but not the full thing.
I think a little bit of that crept in for me when it was just kind of getting used to the score and how it was different. You know, like it's just you aren't hearing John Williams because he didn't do this one. He didn't do the score for this one, so it's just kind of like when I see a Star Destroyer on the screen, I'm used to hearing these sounds, and I'm not. So just kind of getting used to what was happening was a bit a thing for me too. But I don't know. I still kind of like that they're reserving that fanfare for episodes. So it's just like that'll kind of keep the episodes special. Because otherwise you'd be like, well, Rogue One is really good, so I don't know. Episode 8 wasn't yeah, but it's just like, well, it's the official entry. It's moving the timeline forward. Like, there's reason to be excited. It's
You're
all
right.
just excitement management. They're trying to keep everybody stoked.
No, you're totally right. I'm just saying my piece.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I was expecting it. It was a bit of a weird. Like, it was a little weird, but I think I got past it pretty quickly.
Sure.
Although, okay, actually, sorry, super specific anecdote that won't affect anyone else's viewing experience whatsoever. In the opening minute of that movie, I was spending my time walking across the theater to go close the doors to my theater so that light wouldn't be shining onto the screen. So I helped my movie theater, but I missed a couple seconds there. Like, I saw Forrest Whitaker was on a TV screen talking, and it's like, I gotta go deal with this light. And then they were evacuating, they were freaking out, like, on the farm stead or whatever. Like, I got the gist of what was going on, but I might have missed a beat or something there.
You didn't miss a whole lot. There's like
yeah.
nothing too crazy there.
Orson Krennic shows up, Ben Mendelsohn, he's terrorizing Mads Mikkelsen and his family, Death Star plans and all that kind of stuff. I guess we don't need to break down every part of the movie, but
right.
I'm just trying to think of like little things that stuck out. I don't know that martial arts should work as effectively against dudes in armor.
Agreed.
That was the thing.
Yep.
Like, I like Donnie Yen. The Ip Man is awesome. I don't know that punching a dude with like a full body armor should work, but it did.
You're right. However, there were a few hits where he uses his bow staff and just like you can hear the helmet fucking crack.
Okay, so
you're just like, okay, that guy might be dead or brain damaged.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, like but you're right. Yeah.
People, I saw some observations about just like, well, the Ewoks did it. They threw rocks at stuff. And it's like, yeah, it was kind of dumb then, too.
Yep.
Like, that shouldn't have worked either. So, yeah, Stormtrooper armor. They kind of dehumanized the Stormtroopers again in this one, whereas they kind of changed that in Force Awakens, which I kind of liked. But I guess it was back when they were at their most evil, so maybe that's fine. It just fits the tone.
I like that. I like this Stormtrooper. I like them just being the mindless army.
Okay. I did like seeing like desert colored troopers. That was kind of cool. Like just the
sure.
You know what? A lot of my enjoyment for this was totally like 13-year-old self, like just loving the vehicles, just loving how stuff looked, loving the technology. Like I was just totally digging a lot of what this movie was throwing at me on that stuff. It was just like, oh man, that's the same kind of data port. That's awesome. Oh, look at that, Star Destroyer. Look at the Corvette is ramming into the side of it. That's so dope.
Yeah. Oh my god, that part was so cool.
Yeah, the Hammerhead stuff. There was some great space combat stuff. I was really happy with. Like, I guess really when you get down to it, the last 40 minutes is amazing. Like, it's just a pacing thing where they kind of build everything up to pay off real big at the end.
Yep, and it does.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that structure. I don't know. Yeah, if there's some slight misgivings over the course of it for me, it is some of the score, just it's not iconic in the same way.
Yep,
so I kind of wasn't in love with some of it.
I wonder how much of that is biased though. Because
it's so firmly established. So.
There were parts where like they took like a tone or a riff from like a well-known piece and like worked it in, and like that felt legitimate to me. Where it was like, okay, like it's a different thing, but it knows where its roots are. But some of the score was kind of bad, like some of it.
Yeah, or it just kind of wasn't punchy in the way I needed or whatever. Oh man, I guess backtrack again to positive stuff. I thought the Death Star was way more ominous in this than any other movie it's been in.
Because they actually use it. That's the thing.
They use it and also like firmly establish its sense of scale in some cool ways. Like just looking out the sun is so awesome.
Sure. That part's really awesome, and for the sense of scale, even just showing off how powerful it is. It's like, well, it's not like fully operational. Just give it like level power 1 sort of thing, and it just like is the biggest nuke you've ever seen.
Yeah, like that's the thing. We've seen it blow up planets, but somehow it blowing up cities is way more hardcore because there's like people on the ground to see the devastation. Like, it's
because like if this lever goes to like 10, this is like 0.5. Like it's not fully up yet, and it's doing this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, something about the scale of destruction it is operating on was way more like awesome and kind of unsettling, because you get to have those reactions on the ground. Whereas even in Force Awakens, there's like, this is the biggest, baddest Death Star ever. It's gonna blow up 5 planets at once. But I don't care about any of them. Like, they just kind of have some reaction shots of people on the planet going like, "Oh no," and then explosions. Like, it's just somehow by blowing out the scale to that size, it's too big and it doesn't hit anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. They
blowing up the ancient city of Jeddah.
Blew up, and it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was.
I like that weird kind of squid monster that like just interrogated that pilot dude.
Yep,
like
that was weird.
Twitter just has this weird monster. Like, that just seemed like some great Star Warsy, like the Rancor pit, like just kind of like weird,
like some cantina weird shit, like just a thing that happens.
Like, just like, yeah, no, if you have one of these weird squid demons, you
get secrets,
tentacles on them, and they know what your thoughts are. It's like, okay, great, that's part of the lore now. Okay, sorry, misgivings. Sorry, I'm kind of hogging the conversation.
No, I'm agreeing here. Like, The thing is that we're talking about parts right now, and like you can talk about misgivings. Then I want to be more structured in what we thought of like the characters and the story and stuff like that.
Okay.
But so like let's just keep going with like the little tidbits here, and then we'll get into it.
Okay. One tidbitty thing that it is kind of a character related thing, and it's probably my biggest like strike against the movie for me. But I appreciate its audacity. Grand Moff Tarkin is in the movie.
Yeah.
Extensively.
Yeah.
And they don't just recast him exactly. They model Peter Cushing, who has been dead for 22 years, and just kind of make this CG, like, approximation of him. And I don't know, man.
Didn't they do that in Force Awakens as well, though? Isn't fuck, what's his name now?
Like, Andy Serkis is a weird, like, CG guy, but he's in a like, it's
no, I'm talking about like an established dude. I'd have to watch that movie again. I can't remember.
There's like a brief, like at the end of Revenge of the Sith, there's like a long shot where you can kind of see a guy that is Grand Moff Tarkin, but it's obviously,
maybe that's what I'm thinking.
It's not a close up, so it's kind of
okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, because I know that they like brought him back essentially earlier, but I didn't remember like where.
That character is back, but you kind of accept that it is a stand-in or something.
Right,
like
yeah.
Here they kind of just hang their hat on it. They're just like, no, man, he's going to talk to Ben Mendelsohn right now, and you're going to believe that's a human being. And I tried really hard, but it's just the uncanny valley. It just falls right into it, you know? Like, it's that the closer you get, the farther you get kind of thing. Like, it's just not right. Like, there was just that sense every time they pinned a scene on it, and I thought maybe it would only be one scene. Like, it's just kind of
no, it's a few times.
Like, yeah, it's probably not. It wasn't even the first time he showed up. It was like, okay, I kind of get why you do that. It's when it's like, oh no, he's like part of this story, and he's I don't know. Like Darth Vader, it's easy to put whoever you want in there, and then just get James Earl Jones in a recording studio. Like, you can get away with that. But this is like, no, that's just a human man, and that's not. That's weird. I don't know. That creative decision to just kind of pretend the uncanny valley doesn't exist was a little weird to me. So there's that moment, and then there's the very end of the movie. But if we want to go back through kind of the story stuff before we say the end of the movie, I guess.
Well, I'm going to talk about why I like this movie so much.
Okay.
Like, my Twitter review in 140 characters was something along the lines of, Rogue One has the ball Star Wars has been missing for a while. Mainly what I meant by that is everything in this movie is to service the story and the plot to its betterment and to some of the problems that are with it too. What I mean by that is the characters, even though they like don't get much screen time, because spoiler alert, they die. Like, all of them.
Whoa, dude, what?
Yeah.
No, I know, we're in the spoilers.
I really, really like that they kill off the characters because that's what's supposed to happen, and they didn't just like try to like do like they didn't try to work it in that like, well, the robot got away because we can sell toys of him. Like, it's
get people hyped for the sequel or whatever, where K2SO is in it, and
right, exactly. Like, they didn't just like push it forward where it's like, well, we're gonna sell toys based on this. And I feel like Star Wars has just been that for way too long.
Yeah,
and it was super nice to have what like they are calling a Star Wars story be exactly that. Like, everything in this movie is to service a plot and a story that they have that's set between, like, in a very certain time in this universe. To its detriment, though, I really, really, really like a lot of this cast and their characters, and I wish there was a little bit more time to build them up and make me care more about them, because I feel like they were, even though the actors and actresses and all these people did well in their like parts, I feel like they fell flat. Like, it was just kind of like they don't matter, and they don't, and that's like the thing I like, and that's the thing I don't like about it, is that in the grand scheme of things, they did a thing that was amazing to like get the actual Star Wars plot rolling, essentially, like in A New Hope and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like, I really like Felicity Jones's like screen presence, and like, well, Forrest Whitaker, I don't really care about. His character was weird. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of him. I thought
like how weird he was, but yeah, okay, he doesn't like, really get to do
K2SO is like the best droid they've had in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Diego Luna, like as Cassian, was like super good. These are characters I would like them to actually push forward.
But they can't. Like,
they can't.
But I kind of admire their boldness in... Like,
totally.
It's just... It kind of just becomes like, well, this is a different kind of Star Wars story, because they usually end with the heroes getting medals or just celebrating or whatever. Like, nothing consequential can happen.
Oh, no. I don't want them to get medals or any of that stuff. I want, like, more than one movie with them. Like, I like their chemistry together and their screen presence so much that I just wanted, like, at least one more movie with them to, like, work things out more, build their characters up more, so that when the thing happens, it feels more grandiose than it ends up feeling.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess it's just kind of limitations of one feature film. They kind of have to establish everything.
It's a double-edged sword.
And I feel they try to inject some character in as much as they can.
I feel like they did a great job of it, too.
The duo I really liked, actually, was Donnie Yen and his buddy. Like, they're kind of weird. Like, they've been rolling together for a long time, just kind of seem to come through, even though you've only seen them for like 40 minutes or something.
Sure.
Like, I don't know, their dynamic was kind of cool. And like, essentially, though, it was just at the end of the movie, there just becomes this moment where it's just this like cascading, like, rising and falling of like heroic deaths. Like, heroic deaths inspire other heroic deaths. And it just kind of really culminates really well. Like, they just kind of, like, someone sees someone do something inspirational and badass, and then they do something badass, and then someone else has to do something. Like, it just kind of keeps rolling that way, and it was really satisfying to see happen. But I guess, yeah, if you were able to hang out with those characters more, I don't want to, like, rain on anything. Like, I truly, the two core leads, I didn't really find resonated with me very much. Like, Felicity Jones and Cassian, like, I didn't really...
Is there a reason that you can pinpoint?
I don't know. Like, it's just I can't like really pin a specific scene or a specific line or anything that I thought was really fantastic. Like, Cassian, I did appreciate like the tone of one scene, which kind of relates to your like Star Wars has its balls back or whatever. Like, when he ruthlessly kills a dude,
sure,
because like that guy has sensitive information or whatever. Like, that's just kind of a darker thing than a lot of Star Wars movies tend to do. Like, even like probably everything since Empire, you know? Like,
totally. No, for sure.
Stuff happens in Empire, but
I mean, some dark stuff even happens in Return of the Jedi. Some,
like that one Ewok died, and then the other one was really sad.
Well, I mean, if you ignore the Ewoks, the whole thing with like Luke's father essentially turning sides and like sacrificing himself to save the universe, you know, just small stuff like that.
Being electrocuted is pretty hardcore.
Being electrocuted was pretty cool.
Was crazy scary when I was
totally.
little.
It totally is.
And actually, sure, even like Jabba's stuff, like feeding people to rancors, is pretty fucked up. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So sure, since 1983, there hasn't been ruthless, savage business going on.
There hasn't been balls
quite like this. Like I'm trying to think through because I tend to like enjoy the prequels more than most, and I feel like
I'm actually with you.
Revenge of the Sith throws as dark as it can. Like there's limbs getting cut off, younglings are getting killed. Like
okay,
stuff.
I know that we disagree with some of the prequel stuff though, because I think you like Attack of the Clones and was it Return of the Sith? Revenge of the Sith? Yeah. I don't like those very much at all, but I do like Phantom Menace.
Okay. I don't dislike Phantom Menace either, but that's just for different reasons. It's like a different kind of entertainment. Like a big pod race is exciting in its own way, but it's just not the same kind of like heroic battles.
The pod race, like I watched that movie a few years ago. That pod race is actually more boring than I remember, which was a shame. But like, what I really liked about episode 1 specifically was Liam Neeson's character and this whole like a Star Wars story feeling that whole movie had, that just happened to have like one of the main characters later on as a kid in it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about it.
I guess it also brought like a lot to the Jedi like lightsaber
lore
combat
or whatever. Yeah, no, totally.
These dudes, that's what they do. They are expert sword fighters. By the time Star Wars happens, that's like an old forgotten art. So I guess, yeah, this brings it back to just kind of that episode, specifically episode 4 stuff where it's like, Donnie Yen loves the Force and respects it and everything, but he is not a Jedi. There are no Jedis. Like, that's just kind of the way of things. Darth Vader is there doing hardcore stuff. That kind of makes that stuff more meaningful too, because it's like freaky for those dudes to see a lightsaber because they've never seen one before, and then they all die.
Yeah, no, there's definitely more like gravitas to that situation, because this whole movie we see people with blasters, with like kind of like billy club type things, like a machine gun, essentially like a Gatling gun, very kind of normal militaristic weaponry that you would see in many other movies, really, even like other sci-fi movies. Like a blaster is essentially just a handgun, really.
Right, and Cassian having a sniper rifle.
And then out of nowhere, this guy is throwing people around and like the best swordsman ever, and just like he's turned this little like pod into a murder room in a matter of seconds. It gives you that feeling of like this guy, you can see why he's feared, because anytime he goes somewhere, like shit's fucked up. He ruins everything. Like, it's really good.
I guess I was really impressed. Like, I've only seen it the one time, but I'm currently kind of the opinion, like, this is actually like a really good companion piece to episode 4 that kind of makes it even better. Which is
I think I agree.
Like, complimentary thing for like, that's like an iconic movie. It's almost 40 years old. And that this manages to actually like contribute to its legacy instead of kind of sapping away, even with
instead
like,
of copying it.
Sci-fi, like the weird, special effects stuff with Grand Moff Tarkin and stuff. Like, I appreciate the spirit of what they're trying to do, like just fitting it in. But like in general, though, I'm still like mostly impressed with this paying off. Like, I felt it worked out. I will say one thing though with the ending stuff. Like, this was a vibe I got. And a few other people I found commenting on it and stuff seem to be of this opinion too. And it's not a bad thing. It's just, did you play Halo Reach?
Yeah, I love Halo Reach.
Just the final act is a kind of a lot like Halo Reach in a way.
Sure.
Like, just with kind of like your battalion of characters just kind of slowly dying heroically to transmit a signal, like specifically.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. But it's just like, oh man, I've kind of lived this. And now I get this like $200 million blockbuster movie about it. That's cool. Like, I felt good about it. It wasn't a negative thing.
No, totally.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Specifically that it's like a transmission thing, which I guess I will parlay a bit into, like, I left this movie really jazzed about Star Wars combat, got back into Star Wars Battlefront. There's a new map pack that is Scarif missions, so the planet at the end of the movie. What's weird, though, is they don't seem to, like, I don't know if the maps were in development before the reshoots happened or before the movie was kind of locked in or whatever. Because the way the getting the tapes out of the planet is like getting them onto a spaceship and flying them away, like capture the flag style, which I guess fits
weird.
gameplay, but it's not like it's an
That makes no sense.
map. But it's like, well, but the shield's up. Like, what are you talking about? You can't escape. Like, you got to transmit it, you know? Or they can crash the shield and transmit it, but they're not going to be able to fly out of here because there's the battalion of Star Destroyers up there. Like, it's kind of just not quite right, but at least it still has that kind of distinct, like, beaches and jungle-looking kind of environment that hasn't really been in Star Wars, so I still kind of like it. But I guess Kashyyyk maybe, but not a lot has been done on that planet. Anyway, I still generally am jazzed about the Star Wars map pack stuff, but it was kind of weird to see it just not quite be the movie. They don't take proper advantage of that environment. Like, you see the tower in the distance, but you're never going there. So, a little unfortunate. Do you care about Battlefront? Did you?
Yeah, I actually do, and that's why I was disappointed that it wasn't a fully like realized thing like that I wanted. It was just kind of like a Battlefield game in like that universe, which is really a shame because I have played a little bit of the beta when it was coming out, and like playing it on PC with nice headphones and stuff on. Man, that was an experience. Like, that's a beautiful looking game. The sounds are perfect.
Yeah.
There's so much good about that game. It's just, it didn't do enough for me.
Fair. Yeah, fair enough. I've kind of been, it is kind of shallow. I've been kind of coming to terms with that a bit, but still trying to squeeze as much enjoyment out of it as I can.
I mean, if you own it, you should. The whole thing is I didn't buy it because I didn't feel like I would get that enjoyment out of it, but if you have it already, you definitely should like at least make the attempt to play it a bunch.
So I don't know. It's just managed to capitalize a bit on that. I think that's the end of their season, I guess, for content for that game.
That makes sense.
So I don't know if a sequel's waiting in the wings or what's going to happen there, but 4 map packs have come out. This was also like my excuse to finally get some of the previous ones I'd missed. So I was also running around on the Death Star, hanging out in Cloud City and stuff like that. Like, they just realize the environments really well. And I like being in them, but all you're doing in them is shooting dudes. So
that's the problem.
There was like little moments where I'd be like, oh man, look at this planet, and just like stopping to look out a window, but it's just like, all right, I got to get back to fighting because that's what we're doing. But yeah, it's a little weird. I guess there's a VR experience patched into that game where you're in an X-Wing or something. Maybe that lets you enjoy looking at the game more.
I heard that's cool. If I got like a PSVR at some point, you should bring it over so we could try it out.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think how that would work because I bought it digitally, so I might have to like log in.
Oh, well then it would probably... Yeah, you could just log in to like make a new user on my PS4.
I think that might work, but yeah. Digital ownership, man. I don't know.
Man, that PSVR is too expensive though right now, right? Like $500.
Especially up here. I think it's more than that in Canada. Like, I was looking at it, and it's like, I think it's like $700 here.
The annoying thing is it's still the cheapest.
It's still, of the VR options available, yeah. It's still the most practical, but I don't know. When it came around, it was just kind of like, I can't do that. I can't do that right now.
It would be kind of dope to fly an X-Wing in VR.
It would be kind of dope to fly an X-Wing. It would be kind of dope to play Res Infinite, but I don't know, man.
I like those job I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I would have fun with.
There's a handful of like interesting curios for sure, but I don't know.
I just don't want it to be like the PlayStation Move and just sit in a drawer after I have my like weekend of fun with it. But
I'm just trying to think, like, you know, I guess there's like a risk that because everything fails essentially, but they achieve their mission, but everybody dies. Like, there could be kind of a sense of like, well, that was pointless. Like, you know, nothing really happened. But I do feel like it, like I said, it as a companion piece movie. Like, this movie only works with Episode 4 there, but that movie is there and everybody's seen it. Like, it's fine.
It very much is a movie about the journey, like not about what happens. So,
like, not what not
at the,
what
like at the end,
on an individual level,
no,
but the larger thing that's going on, they contribute a meaningful thing to that. So,
but I mean, let's talk about how dope it is that, like, oh my god, what's his name? The karate dude. Like, what's his name in the movie? Do you remember?
Ip Man, I think it was. I'm joking. I forget.
Ip Man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Ip Man. He was there.
Yeah.
Like, and then he trained like Bruce Lee from Beyond the Grave.
When he's like doing his heroic thing, and he's just like blindly, obviously because he's blind, walking into like the battlefield, just chanting.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a really good part. Like that really, like that's a perfect send off for him. And then his buddy, Blackie McGatlingun, I think that was his name. He has like,
but yeah,
he has the pretty good send off of just like going out with his friend, sort of
like
thing,
taking out all these crazy like dark troopers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's,
Alan
whatever.
Tudyk has a great send off where just when like Jin is starting to trust him, and like they're building a relationship, he does like the heroic thing, locks them in so that the troopers can't get to them, and just like takes out as many as he can while doing like his part.
Sorry, I'm looking at Donnie Yen's character's name. It's like Chirrut Imwe or something.
Did they ever say that in the movie?
That's what I'm wondering, yeah. Like, the whole time I was seeing him on screen, I was just like, yeah, it's Donnie Yen. That's great. He's a blind guy. Like, I don't know. So, Chirrut.
Okay, cool.
Maybe they pronounce it differently.
Chirrut's great. He reminds me of a Mortal Kombat character for some reason, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
The blind karate dude. Yeah.
Wisdom. But yes, he does. Yeah, I guess he kind of... No, I guess K2SO kind of kicks off the heroic sacrifice thing, right?
Oh, totally.
Pretty sure he's the first to go down, but yeah.
Wait, well, technically the first ones to, like, kick it off were the, like, dudes who just, like, followed them into battle to cause a distraction.
Yeah, okay. Like, just assorted rebels that were willing to go.
Man, that part's so cool, though, where he's sending them off, just, like, make 10 feel like 100 or whatever, so they set up all the bombs to go off in different places, and it looks like this giant battlefield, and there's just, like, a group of them.
Yeah.
It's so fucking dope.
I mean,
it's so good.
There's some, like, kind of just elements of some of the other films, like, you know, them doing the Endor mission where they have to drop the shield or whatever, like, that kind of stuff. But also, like, the thing I really liked was just... There was little echoes of, like, when they're in the Death Star and it's, like, a handful of rebels inside the Death Star, like, they're way over their heads. Like, when they were down on the surface of Scarif and it's just, like, there's just Imperials everywhere and they have to do this crazy-ass thing. Like, it... And, you know, they're stealing uniforms and kind of sneaking into these heavily fortified areas and stuff. It just kind of had that feel of, like, seat of the pants, like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, hopefully this works out. Like, it just had some actual... tension to it of just like, I know this ultimately works out, but this is going so badly right now. Like there was some great anxiety, I guess, in some of that. So I appreciate a lot of what happened.
The weird like homages to like other scenes, almost to the shot in some parts, where it's
there's some literal like that dude is in the tower like exactly like he was in episode 4. Like,
but then like a weird twist added onto it. Like, I don't know. It's weird. And I really like this movie. Like,
specifically that scene where, like, so there's, you know, the guy in the tower who's kind of monitoring ships taking off or whatever. Like, before it kind of just seems like a easy allusion to the Yavin base in episode 4. But then later kind of sneak off in a ship. They're not supposed to be going on a mission. And he's kind of sitting in his tower, like, leaning back, not expecting anything to be happening. He's like, what? Why is that happening? Like, they kind of justify his presence there in the story a little bit. I kind of appreciate that. But, okay, I want to highlight one thing specifically before the final thing for me, anyway. Is, so the Grand Moff Tarkin thing is there. There's also a couple other characters from episode 4 that they managed to sneak in a lot better. Specifically Gold Leader and Red Leader. From
I didn't even realize. Yeah, you're right.
I loved that when it happened. I was like just smiling, just be like, "Oh man, that was so sharp, you guys. That was like so well done." Because they must have all sorts of footage of those dudes in cockpits from the end of the first movie. So it's just like, hey, you could just slide them in there, and it's perfect, and it makes complete sense why they'd be there. You have like a slightly alternate take on the line where they're checking in or whatever. Beautiful. Like I was just like, oh man, that is perfect. Like that is fan service, but that is like logical stuff. Great.
That is so good too, because I didn't even really think about it.
Just like, oh yeah,
I was just like, yeah,
Gold Leader's there. Of course he is. He's the head of the Y-wing section. Like,
that's fucking weird, man.
No, it was like,
yeah, that's really good.
It was just like, those are real shots. It's like, that's the thing. Like they just have actual footage of those dudes and they slide it in there, and it's really great. When they try to do the CG thing is where it happens, and the movie ends on one of those moments.
It totally does.
It was like a weird mixed feeling thing of just like, this looks all wrong, but I really had a great time just now. Like, but, oh man, what are you doing? Like, it was just, conflictions all over the place.
You know, you seem a lot more upset about it than I was. I was totally okay with it. It was silly, but I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Because they need her to bridge it. Really.
Like, I wasn't angry. It was more just like a baffled, like, that didn't work at all, but all right. Good try.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
Carrie Fisher is there. We just saw her last year in like the biggest movie last year, and we know she's not 23 anymore or whatever, but okay. Like,
do you think this is the biggest movie of the year?
This movie?
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know. Like Captain America, I think, is currently the biggest one right now. It's like at 1.15 million or something.
Wait,
like
Captain America was this year?
Yeah, Captain America: Civil War.
Oh,
yeah, this was like May, I think.
Apparently, that was kind of forgettable to me.
Okay,
I had no idea because I liked it when I saw it, but I forgot that it even existed.
I'm trying to think of movies that are like north of $1 billion right now, and I don't know if this is going to quite do that, but like I'm kind of, I'm in a position where I could see it again, which happened with Force Awakens. I saw it twice, I think, but I don't know. Like I don't think it's not going to get anywhere near like $2 billion or anything like that.
Right.
But
yeah,
it opened really solid. I think it's it's obviously rolling really well. So it's I'm just happy they were able to kind of prove out this spin-off like idea without it just seeming cheap and kind of superfluous or whatever. It kind of, I don't know how many times they can do that, like pull a great Han Solo story out or whatever. Like, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but there's more faith there now for me than before.
Totally. Sure.
No, sorry, just that I just feel like I still need to justify that end moment a little bit.
Okay.
Like, so, and also I guess explain what it is. No, whatever. People know, right? But so Princess Leia is right there at the end, and she says hope. And they earlier in the scene, they're kind of like dancing around it a bit, like she's got her like drape up or whatever, like you're not seeing her. And then then she turns right to the camera, and it was just kind of, again, an uncanny valley kind of thing, but I don't know. It's just one of these techniques. I've seen it in other movies, like, young Charles Xavier in X-Men Origins. That was like 7 years ago, but you're just like, Patrick Stewart, that doesn't look quite right. Like, because what the person's supposed to look like. And I guess I just want to see it again. Or if I get the Blu-ray or something, I'm just going to pause and look at it and just kind of figure out what was wrong. Because something like that uncanny sense happened when I saw that scene. So did it happen for you too, but you just didn't care? Like, it was just like, whatever.
Well, I figured that they were going to end off on that note.
Okay.
So I was just like, I really wonder how they're going to do this. And then I was just like, yep, okay, and then left.
Would it make sense to like kind of close up on her lower chin? It's like a double.
Oh man, that's actually like the better artistic thing. Where
or then like I'm just trying to like.
It just shows like her. They could just get like a girl, right?
Like it's her, and she's she's there and she accepts the message and everything.
She just has like her veil on or whatever, and you just see like her nose and chin area or whatever, and she's like Hope or whatever, and then it cuts away.
Like, I just don't know why they decided to just go, no, you got to see the buns, you got to see everything. You just got to...
Because people are retarded, and there are people that won't put it together.
Like, it's like, who is that? Like, what does that mean at the end? Like, it doesn't have as much...
To be fair, there probably are people that won't put it together. I want to know if this is anybody's first Star Wars movie. Because that would be really interesting to me. I would like the perspective of somebody watching this and then episode 4 and on.
Oh, yeah, you know, like, it's a pretty good roller coaster onto the thing.
I think it's the new canon way to watch it. You know,
like the machete order or something. You got to be like, all right, Rogue One first, and like you just change up how you approach it.
Rogue One actually has to be first now, just because you're right. I think what it does is that not only does it stand on its own merits as a film and like a cool thing in the Star Wars universe, but it builds so much into 4 that it just feels like this nice like supplementary thing that you have to watch now. Like, I don't think I can ever watch episode 4 without watching this first now.
Which is solid, but man, I'm just trying to think of like if the first way you see Darth Vader is him in his like back to tank and then him in his weird like Sauron.
That's kind of cool, man. Like that's kind of really cool.
Mordor tower, but which is an easy
he's this mysterious figure, and then the first time you see him,
he does cutting up everybody.
No, he's choking. The main dude.
Krennic, yeah.
But like you don't know maybe necessarily that he's choking him because this is the first time you've ever seen it. You don't know what this guy can do, and then you see him kill everyone.
Okay. Some people really took exception to the like "don't choke on your ambitions" line, but it didn't even faze me at all.
It makes sense. That's an actual like thing somebody would say.
Like they were like, "Oh, Darth Vader wouldn't make a pun." That's ridiculous.
I don't think in Darth Vader's mind he made a pun there.
It's just like, I'm going to kill you if you're too ambitious.
He was saying, don't choke on your ambition, and it just happened to be that he was like choking him because that's kind of his move, really.
Yeah, I don't know. It really didn't seem out of character for him, for me. Like, it just didn't...
I'm really glad they didn't have the Emperor.
Oh, sure, yeah. Like, save him for Return of the Jedi. For crappy holograms in Empire, I guess. But when you first see him.
I'm really glad, though, that they didn't have something where, like, that you just hear him over an intercom go, "Good, preparations will be complete," or something dumb. Like, they played it very cool, where when they talked about him, it was kind of like, oh, don't piss off the Emperor. Like, seriously. Like, that's all the reference you get to what this dude is. I really like this idea of this being somebody's first film into the Star Wars universe, and I'm super angry that I was born in a time where it couldn't be mine.
So if you're a kid out there, you know, hey, lucky you, go check this out, see what Star Wars is about.
If you've been just like putting off watching Star Wars for whatever reason, you should actually just go see this right now. Like, you should stop listening right now because we're going to end anyway.
Yeah.
And like actually just see it and then report back about how fucking cool it is to have this as your entry point. Although you wouldn't know. So you know what? Never mind. You don't know anything. Go watch Star Wars.
No, I'm trying to think if there'd be any kind of weird like referential stuff that just wouldn't pay off, but it doesn't really
not that matters
on like callbacks or anything that I can really recall.
Nothing that matters. It's one of those things that like if you watched it first, you wouldn't get any of those like at all, but then when you rewatch it, you would catch onto it, and you would be like, "That's actually really cool." Now that I know,
like Senator Organa is there,
yep,
and that was kind of neat. But they don't really make it like this is my daughter, or here she is, or whatever, because they save Leia for that last moment.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
So he like him being there just wouldn't matter much to you probably on a first watch through. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Like I remember, like in Force Awakens, there was a couple like almost eye-rolling moments where they're just kind of, remember this droid from A New Hope? Like they're just kind of doing throwback jokes
Yep.
Like specifically, Finn pulls out the training droid in the Millennium Falcon and just kind of gawks at it, and the audience laughs, and that's why that was there.
Yep.
They don't do any, there's no kind of this moment only makes sense if you've seen this other thing that I can really recall. But so maybe
you're right.
Maybe it works, but whatever. Star Wars is great. I enjoy Star Wars. Disney's gonna make so much money, like all the time, every year.
They're gonna make so much money. Let's end this off in a classy way.
Okay.
Okay. Do you think Rogue One is better than? This is the game. I'm gonna say things, and you're gonna say, is Rogue One better than it? Yes or no?
Oh man. Okay. This is based off of one viewing. This is December 22nd, 2016. This is Nathan in this moment, having played Battlefront a bunch this week. This may not be canon, but okay.
Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
I probably shouldn't sweat that too much. I'm just going to say, yeah.
I really like it.
It's too hard to explain to someone, so yeah, you know what? 99% people will enjoy Rogue One more.
I really like the idea that like you probably piss somebody off for even hesitating.
Yo, Darth Maul was dope.
Darth Maul is grossly underused, but
that Yoda puppet was so terrible. So yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
I don't know about that one, honestly. Like, I don't.
Oh my god.
About it, but that movie has some sharp business going on.
No, it doesn't.
It's got some dope pacing, dude. It's sick.
It has some dope pacing.
That movie opens real strong, but
how does it open?
Like,
I can't remember.
It's just amidst like one of the craziest space battles they've ever done, and they're trying to bust into Grievous's ship to save the Emperor. Like, it starts running, like they crash a ship into Coruscant and all this stuff. Like, it just kind of it hits the ground running, I guess is all I mean. Like, I was really jazzed by that movie when I saw it, and it just kind of expands on the Emperor and stuff. There's some dopey stuff in it though. Like, I know that.
Yeah, I mean, there is dopey shit in it.
I know that in my heart. Yeah. Like, there's some bad business going on.
But you're ignoring it.
Yeah, it's hard for me to, like, just discredit it completely. You know? Like, plus, like, it's also trying to kind of be a companion movie to 4, like, tying stuff together. So, I don't know. I'd kind of put them in a similar ballpark, honestly. And I'm sorry to say that, you know? Because I know people are real jazzed now. But I'm saying, you know, Revenge of the Sith is all right.
Okay.
It's all right.
Episode 4, A New Hope.
No.
It's not as good as A New Hope?
It's not as good as A New Hope.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
It's a buddy movie with it, but it's you know, no.
Episode 5.
No.
Like, that's not even a question.
That's probably the best one. So.
Because, like, Episode 5, I'm pretty sure I've got on record multiple times saying, like, it's probably just the best movie. Like, in general.
It's really got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I like Return of the Jedi too much to say that either. Like,
I like Return of the Jedi a lot. I will say overall I think Rogue One is better, but I think Return of the Jedi has better parts than Rogue One does. Like, I think
higher highs, but overall,
for sure.
You know, maybe there's something kind of disjointed to Return of the Jedi's pacing. Like, there's the Steve Han Solo section, and then there's the, okay, what is the rest of this movie about section, where it's just kind of like, there's another Death Star, we gotta stop it. We came up with another dilemma. But, you know, with the Emperor and stuff, like, there's a lot of personal payoff for Luke, and it works, but
right,
he kind of has to, like, rev up this other story partway through the movie. And it's a hard thing to pull off, but for me, though, I think the thing that actually I will just ascribe to Rogue One is I think it kind of borrows a page from the playbook of Return of the Jedi in the final act with just juggling a variety of battles.
For sure.
Like, they're kind of they're trying to steal the tapes, and there's like this personal, like, small scale fight happening with Krennic. There's the space combat is happening, and it's amazing. And then there's the, like, on ground, like, blowing up ships and all that kind of stuff is happening. Like, just it's kind of intercutting between all sorts of rad business. And Return of the Jedi does that really well with just the, like, you know, Lando's trying to blow up the Death Star, Ewoks and Han Solo are doing all this crazy stuff, and then there's a lightsaber duel going on too. Like, it was.
I mean,
I think I like that trio, that lineup of stuff better. So that's where.
Really, because I really don't like Ewoks. Like, I really don't like those parts.
Man,
to the point where
ETST, he's like shooting all these dudes.
To the point where, like, those parts made me feel like that movie was ruined. Like, if they had cut them out, that would have been a perfect movie.
Some of the Ewok music is so good. I don't know, man. I was maybe young enough to where I just thought the Ewoks were great. Like, I've actually, since watching Rogue One, I've been kind of like, yo, I gotta get those Ewok adventures, man. I gotta get those movies. They're crazy expensive. Like, they came out on DVD like once 12 years ago. I'm not paying hundreds of dollars to watch the Ewok adventure movies, but I'm curious, you know? I only saw the first one. Did you ever go down that path? Did you ever check? Oh, okay. Caravan of Courage.
I've never liked Ewoks.
Witch of Endor. Yeah. Sorry, I think I'm just like lumping those two movies together and calling them the Ewok Adventures. There might have also been an animated series literally called that.
There was an animated series, for sure. I don't know what it was called, though.
Yeah. You know, as target demo for Ewoks, I like Ewoks. So not as good as 6 for me. Better than 7, I'm going to say.
Rogue One better than 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you.
But that said, like, I feel like a lot of rain has been falling on Force Awakens since it came out. I still love so much what they gave Chewie in that movie. Like, that they gave him something to.
Wait,
really,
what do you mean rain has been?
Like, people have been kind of like tempering their excitement a bit about Force Awakens. Like, kind of.
Are you kidding?
A little bit.
I remember saying that it's like probably a 7 out of 10, and getting like a bunch of people telling me to go fuck myself.
Oh, because it's actually a 12 or something? Yeah.
Like, okay. So I don't know what you're on, but like when I said that it's a pretty good movie, but not the best, even in Star Wars, like, people like actually just said like you're a fucking idiot and stuff.
Okay.
So
I've been around a different peer group, I guess.
Okay. Fair enough.
Specifically, has been pretty negative about that movie, so I've been hearing that for the last year.
I don't think that movie has anything to be negative about. I didn't think it was as great as like people said it was, because there's other Star Wars movies that are just way better.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, dude. Okay, sorry. Minor kind of like reflection thing based on some of that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what quality it was exactly, but like I was kind of saying a bunch of kind of vague stuff about the spaceship battles. Honestly, some of it was just like, I felt the special effects just had some kind of presence to the ships and stuff that I didn't feel during some of the scenes in Force Awakens. Like, it was just, I don't know if it's something with the balance of like CG versus models or something, but like, for example, when the Millennium Falcon is flying around on the surface of Tatooine, duking it out with TIE fighters, I never felt like I wasn't seeing just CG nonsense happening. Like, it just didn't feel like, oh shit, they're gonna fall or whatever. Like, it just didn't happen. When the ships had to pull up before hitting the shield in Rogue One, I was like leaning back in my seat, like, just, oh shit. Like, it was just like, I was so much more caught up in the spaceship action that was going on. Like, it just felt like I was more in it somehow. I don't know. It was just some quality that they managed to pull off with how they use their shots, or just something. Like, those battles came together in a way that I just didn't feel happened with, like, you know, Finn and Poe escaping in the TIE fighter and stuff like that. Like, I kind of like that stuff in theory, but maybe it was just the way the shots were composed or something. Like, I just didn't feel that kind of seat gripping thing ever. Like, that just didn't happen.
Sure.
So, I don't know, just another feather in Rogue One's cap for how it chose to do that stuff. Like, when that's like some of the stuff with like the light speed stuff too, like when the Star Destroyer comes out of light speed and just like blocks everybody and they just start exploding. Like,
yep, it's really good.
There's just some great use of those vehicles, and man, yeah, it was great. So better than 7. And
okay.
And I haven't seen Witch of Endor, so I can't really say for that one, but it's better than Caravan of Courage for sure.
Sure. What about the Christmas special?
You know, I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's better than the first 40 minutes. So
cool.
Have you watched that whole thing? Have you done that?
No, I just watched like bits and pieces of it, and then watched like somebody riffing on it for the whole time it was like playing.
Okay.
So I didn't just like sit there and like watch it, but like I watched most of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Star Wars.
It's bad.
Oh, it's bad.
It's really, really bad. But on that note, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. I got the new Star Wars Christmas special. That's not...
Yeah, Rogue One.
Yeah, that's the tagline.
Yeah.
No, it's pretty good. There's some good stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for listening to this episode of the Pixel Response.
Yeah.
We'll see you maybe next year, but maybe we'll fit one in somehow. I don't know.
I'm sure we can fit one in. I don't know what we talk about. Maybe like actually talk about what happened over Christmas and stuff.
Sure.
Maybe, you know what? That'll be our Christmas episode. We'll talk about what we did for our little Christmas breaks and then like talk about Christmas stuff. There you go.
There you go.
There you go. I don't know when that'll be. It might be in the new year, but that'll probably be what we talk about. Maybe. I don't know.
Probably. But hey, Merry Holidays and have a happy
and safe holiday. Be safe.
Be safe.
Bye.
Bye. There's like a whole other avenue of just like, was 2016 that bad? But I don't want to open that now, so it's okay.
You know what? That sounds like you know what? We should do a year in review thing.
Sure, yeah. Like just like really break down, because there's been a lot of negative stuff about it, and I get it, but I don't know. Personally, 2013 took that cake and ate it, so 16 isn't anything. It's fine.
2013 was really bad for you, so
2013 was real bad for me, so like it's just maybe a Schadenfreude thing. It's like, yeah, how do you like it? Like 2016 stuff you care about dying, huh? Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah.
See you guys later.
Bye.